This is Abstract Portraits. I'm Jen. I'll paint the vibe. Today I'm painting Karnovsky's vibe. Karnovsky, whenever you're ready, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Explain my vibe?
If you want, sure.
I don't even know what, I'm pretty sure what that means, but it kind of doesn't matter. Okay, so I am Karnovsky. A lot of people know me by a first name that I really didn't choose. My parents seem to have made the choice, and I don't really like it. But I do love my last name. It feels somewhat important. Whether it is or not, I'll leave up to you. I've been an actor for a long time. I started in high school, actually before that. And while a lot of my life has taken twists and turns, as all of our lives do, I've always, the real touchstone for me has always been performing and acting. I did 30 years of acting in New York City.
Wow.
I have limited Broadway experience, off-Broadway, regional theater. I don't know how many roles I've done, probably hundreds. But it's what I do. I'm currently growing a beard and stash and letting my hair grow long for a role that I'm going to be doing in Austin in 3 weeks. I play an unhoused person who has suddenly won the lottery. The script is pretty good, and I'm pretty excited about it. And then a week after that, I'm playing an aging theater actor who is being fired by a longtime associate and friend. And one of his lines is, "It's what I love, Martha." No, that's not right. "It's what I love, Martha. It's what I love, Margot. And that's not it either. "It's what I live for, Margot.
Ooh.
It's all I've ever lived for." And I can say that line with a lot of empathy. Maybe not this time, but I will. Because it is where I truly feel I am most alive, is in front of a camera and portraying a human so as to bring forth what my opinion of being a Homo sapien is. And I think it's wondrous, and both faces, tragic and comedy. So we can either live in tragedy or comedy. I choose comedy most of the time, but all of us have our own personal stories. I feel like Rod Serling on The Twilight Zone. And it became personal when you crossed the line into The Twilight Zone. All right, that's by way of introduction.
I like that.
Thanks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you must have done a lot of work in New York then.
I did a lot. Yeah.
What gave you the acting bug?
I don't view it as a bug. I view it as a gift.
Sure.
I was, as far back as I can remember, I was always a performer and actor. My sister, who's very dear to me and who we are 11 months apart,
Wow.
we used to do a tango routine at my parents' dinner parties when we were 5 and 6. And I would tell jokes, and it's kind of standard. People who go into the performing arts usually have a long history of it, and that's so it just always went from there. And I was always on stage, and I was always, for some reason, people would always laugh. I think basically I'm a comic character. I wear size 16 shoes, and I have a large head, so I'm kind of goofy. And that's okay by me, because I think we need to laugh. I think we need to laugh a lot. We and monkeys. We both species laugh. I think it's vital. Anyway, that's why.
Wow, that's cool.
Thanks.
What else were you doing in New York?
I raised a family with my longtime wife, and we also wrote together. And we performed improvisational comedy at every nightclub in New York City.
What?
We wrote children's books together. My wife worked for a famous corporation called Children's Television Workshop.
Wow.
She was an editor for one of their magazines, and she did a great job. Anyway, so we wrote books together, and then eventually, when we started having children, I had to make a bunch of money. So I went into business. I ran a paint, plaster, and wallpaper company for 20 years, some of which I was still acting. But so I did all of those different things, and but it was always acting that I really. That's always been where I go back to.
Wow.
And I may take time off, but I always go back. I've been a film actor for the last 5 years. I've stopped doing theater because film television has wider audience, and you always want to create as large an effect as you can.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Wow, what a juicy life. That's very cool.
Yeah, I think I've done okay. I got no complaints.
Wow, that's amazing! Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah. I'm a big believer in reincarnation, and so a lot of times I feel that we use a particular lifetime to learn something that we'll bring to the next, and hopefully we can remember the last one so I don't make the same mistakes again. But.
Do you mean consciously remember, or like?
I think it comes in flashes, Jennifer. I do think it comes in flashes, or you'll be in a building where you don't need to be told where anything is. You're just like, oh yes, that happened to me a lot in New York. Like I would be in a building and I would already know where everything was, particularly on the Lower East Side, and I love that experience and I love that feeling, and I think we all have that. Some call it deja vu, some call it flashbacks, whatever. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I feel that I've learned a lot this lifetime. More than anything, I feel like I've learned business and how show business is show business, and that you have to approach it that way. And as I have moved through life, I feel like I'm better and better at approaching it that way. And a lot of the real grown-up business experiences I had taught me how to navigate the professional actors' lives. Yeah. And I feel that's very, it's such a part of it. And if you don't have that, then you have a tendency to lack understanding, and you're limited in your usefulness. Because it is such a privilege to bring forth one's opinions of what our species is. And that is such a privilege to do that and to present it and to live other lives so you can give your viewpoint of what life on this planet is about. And without being pedantic, without being a snot-nosed, without being, stuck up in any way, shape, or form, you're just going, look, this is what I've observed. This is what I see. This is what I feel is valid. And we are all of the same species, billionaire or pauper, white, black, green, purple, all of it. Same species. When I'm in difficult situations, or sometimes just when I'm, actors were perpetually auditioning. So sometimes before I audition, I'll use that, or Tom Petty's I Won't Back Down.
Ooh, yeah.
That great line, you can stand me up before the gates of hell, but I won't back down. Those are two of my go-to pieces. Also, the band. There's a song called Atlantic City that Bruce Springsteen actually wrote, but the band did the definitive recording of it, I think. And I would listen to those, and also John Prine, who I was lucky enough to see in Chicago a gazillion years ago at the Earl of Old Town. And he wrote Angel from Montgomery. And that's another one that, these are all touchstones for me. And Bob Dylan, so much of his music, but one in particular was, It'll Come to Me. But those are my touchstones that I listen to when I need to calm the noise down. Yeah. Last year I did 30 projects.
Wow.
Yeah, various, some national, some local, some UT students who I really enjoy working with. And I don't know, I worked in Nashville and in Los Angeles, in Montgomery, Alabama. I did in Chicago. I did a lot of stuff last year. So usually my preparation for roles, like right now I'm preparing 2 roles that are very different. And but I spend so much time at all hours of the day and night, just depends, I just think, wait, there's an idea. It just comes to me like, oh, there would be a suitcase. It would be light blue. And I would tuck it into this corner here of my dressing room. But when stuff like that hits, you don't ignore it, you go right at it. And so my preparation is such that I don't need anything. All I need is someone to say, okay, and we're rolling.
Wow.
And I'm there. And there's no place else I'd rather be.
Wow.
Yeah. Doesn't mean I don't enjoy the rest of life, but that's my heightened life experience.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wow, 30 projects. That's a lot.
It was actually 31, but who's counting? I was.
Wow.
Yeah, a few commercials. There were a few commercials in there, 3 or 4 maybe, and a bunch of film work, and some really good scripts. And it was great. It was a good year, and I'm having a good year this year also. I haven't counted anything, but I'm doing a lot of work. I think I'm at the age where most of my contemporaries have died. But actually that is true. A lot of my contemporaries have died, and so to be a well-trained actor at this age, there ain't that many of us. So the talent pool is dying off, and fortunately, I'm still here.
Do you have a favorite part?
It's always the one I'm working on.
Oh, of course, I love that.
And I'm working on 2. I play unhoused veteran with PTSD, so that's going to be interesting getting into that head. A veteran of the Gulf Wars. And the other one is a project that I'm so in love with. I play an aging theater actor who is being replaced because the reviews were bad, and the person who wrote it with me in mind, and she is just brilliant.
Wow.
And for me, the ability to spend time with her is priceless.
Wow.
I feel so lucky. I just feel so lucky. So, do I have a favorite role? Yeah, that one, and the other one I'm doing. But I love them all. The other reason I stopped doing theater was because you're forced to do so many roles that other people have created. And there's so many okay, here's the convention of how you do Shylock in The Merchant of Venice. My daughter, my duck, it's bullshit. You can cut that word if you want. But it's just, okay, it's been done. But when you're doing film roles, you're the first one. You define the role. Humphrey Bogart, he defined roles. Harrison Ford, he defines roles. Brad Pitt, they define these roles. And they may be remade, but whenever you think about Casablanca, you only see one person in that role. And that's what a wonderful level of creativity you're allowed. you know, to create something from nothing. And it's not really from nothing because you're doing this from a written script that someone has labored over and has put so much time and love into that it's collaborative. That's the other thing I love about film.
You are like the personification of gratitude.
Wow. Okay, I never thought of that.
I mean, it's really so. I feel really lucky to experience it. It's really nice.
Thank you. Yeah, I know who I'm. Somebody said this the other. Oh, yeah, it was that writer. She said the other day, you know, you're comfortable with yourself, and I really am. I mean, at this point in time, I'm a human. I have flaws. I don't care. You know, I don't care. Yeah, I do. But I have wonderful parts of me too. So.
Have you done much traveling?
Yes.
And have you had the chance to perform in other countries or other languages?
No, I've only ever traveled for fun.
Nice.
And to experience other cultures and see what their lives are like.
Have you seen live theater in other places?
Yeah.
And so your whole philosophy, you've seen witnessed in other languages and other cultures then? Like you've been able to witness that?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. It always communicates. And again, it's like, I think the tragedy of live theater, no pun intended, but I think the real tragedy is that there is no real audience remaining for it. A friend of mine who's she's a neighbor, she's a chainsaw artist, she's a brilliant woman. She said, you know, the evolution is really what is so necessary. And her name is Griffin, and she is an Amazon and just gorgeous and expresses herself with a chainsaw.
That's
beautiful
amazing.
work. She does beautiful work. You know, different sizes, you know, when she gets down to the
Sure.
detail, they're very small. But her viewpoint is that it has to evolve. And the evolution of theater will be an online and live audience experience. And I think she's right. I think that is correct. And there is another friend of mine in Austin named Robert Matney who actually created that with a piece that was called You Wouldn't Know Her, She Lives in London. And they alternated it with You Wouldn't Know Him, He Lives in Austin. And they had this online hookup with a live audience. And I do think that that's the future of theater because it'll bring in the next generation or the next generations. And I think theater as we now know it, particularly Broadway theater, is borders on pathetic in terms of viewership. And like Broadway theater is like, you know, white-haired people from Scarsdale or Westchester County who can afford, you know, $150 to $1,000 a ticket. Well, that just creates more barriers between us as a species. It's like, great, you get to see theater because your pocketbook is very deep. You don't. What? That's not right. That's not right. Music is for everyone. But theater, unfortunately, it's moving into the realm of opera where it's all elitism. That doesn't work. You know, when elitism goes over the top, then you have the French Revolution. You know, and it just, the unequal distribution of wealth. I'm not a communist by any means, but the deal is that you cannot have billionaires and soon there'll be trillionaires, but you cannot have that when you have unhoused people to the extent that we have. I was doing a shoot in Los Angeles a couple of months ago, and there are 40,000 unhoused people in Los Angeles. You want to call them homeless? Okay, homeless, whatever. That can't be healthy. And that won't work. And I think I'm not a bleeding heart liberal. I think that the younger generation, particularly millennials, are overly sensitive and are ridiculous in their cancel culture bullshit. But I do believe that the uneven distribution of wealth within our world is unsustainable. There you go. That's that lecture. That lecture's up.
Do you get recognized?
I do.
Yeah? Do you have a favorite way to handle that?
It's not that often, but I do get recognized. It's like, oh, I saw you. Yeah, okay, good. Thank you very much. I just think it's, again, it's so funny because I keep boiling it down to like, we're the same species. You may have $1 billion, you may be a pauper, you may be, you may be an Arab, you may be, from Ecuador. You're the same species as me. You have to go to the bathroom. You eat as often as you need to. You make love. You laugh. You cry. We're the same species. We have different experiences and different, synaptic gaps, I guess it might be. But when somebody wants to talk to me, I'm more than happy to talk to them. So, yeah, sometimes. And sometimes it's very gratifying when I recognize for something good that I did, It's like something that I felt was good.
All right. Are you ready to see it?
No.
Okay.
I am not yet.
All right.
Tell me a little.
Tell you a little?
Tell me a little. So, do you look at, when you say you look at the vibe, what does that mean? Do you see, is it the, it's a little trite. Do you look at the aura? What do you look at? Do you see the colors the person exudes?
Yeah, so I experience emotions through color.
Yes.
And pretty much when people talk, they spark color choices for me. And
do they exude it, or is it just something that comes to you?
If I haven't painted it a long time, then people do exude it. But so I keep a practice so that it's only so I can be in control of when it happens. And then
do you feel that you channel it? Like a lot of musicians feel that the music is just coming through them.
Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah.
I'm just the vehicle.
That's great.
Yeah.
That must feel wonderful.
It really is. It feels it took a long time for me to realize that just because that's the best way to do it doesn't mean that it's the wrong way. It feels the easiest and the best at the same time.
Yeah.
And anything else feels forced.
How wonderful is that?
Oh, it's really wonderful. It's like it was life altering when I discovered it. Yeah.
Yeah. Good for you. Good for you.
Thank you.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'll look.
Okay.
Oh, that's lovely. I love it.
Yeah.
The tiny bit of red, the small bit of red, but mostly a lot of blue.
Yeah, the red was the first part
Yeah.
I did. I'm glad you like it, but you're really very engaging.
Thank you. I consider myself to be so.
Yeah. Okay.
I love it.
Oh,
It's gorgeous.
thank you. Thank you. You're gorgeous too. Thank you, and thank you for watching.
Oh,
and
right. There are other people.
Yes. And that's it. I'll spray this and take a photo and sign it, and then it's all yours.
That sounds great. Okay. Thank you.
Yes.